Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Um, Today we're going to be creating a shaker card using this die and these little clay little paw prints here that I have. A friend of mine is having a birthday and he's very attached to his cat. So I'm going to make this. It says, "You had me at meow." So, which I think he will get a pretty big kick out of. But I've been thinking, I get a lot of comments from friends and also in the comment section about how do you make your cards look like that? How do you, great job. I'm not sure I could ever make something like that. How do you, what's your process and things like that? So I thought for some of the upcoming series, I thought it would be kind of fun to take you through the process of how to make a card. How do I go from like a background to actually a finished product? How do I make that happen? What do those steps look like for me? And then kind of hopefully that will help you in your own process at home. You're certainly welcome to ask any questions, anything like that. But yeah, so that's what I thought I would do. So that's why there's so much stuff here right now, because um, what I've decided. So this is my pile of backgrounds that are already all done, right? So let's say I don't have a ton of time to make a card, and I just want to get going with it, and or I like to play with some of my supplies and things like that, because if I'm going to make a mess, if I'm pulling things out, I want to do it all at once. So it's kind of fun to get out everything in place. So I'll make a bunch of backgrounds and then they go into the drawer. They'll come with me to a prop or something like that. If I know I have to make a bunch of cards, I've already got a lot of half of the work is done. Now I just have to add things to it. It's also a really great idea to play with your supplies when you don't feel like you've got any mojo, when you don't have any what you think, you don't have any creative ideas or something like that. It's always there. And playing with your supplies gives you a chance to not only practice and get better at using those supplies, but it also gives you an opportunity to create backgrounds that you're like, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to put it aside because you never know. I mean, yeah, cool. This could be a really neat what's the word that is like wintertime background. This could also be like a really cool water, like if I were to put some mermaids on there or something like that. So don't throw anything away because you never know what's going to come up. Okay. So I'm going to go through my stack and kind of show you my process and everything. But here's what I decided I wanted to do. So I know that I want to use this die. Okay. So which says, "You had me at meow." So I know that I want to use that. I know because it's got this really cool um, shadow layer, so it'll cut out. So I can make a really nice um, big shaker card with it. So I knew that I wanted to use these. They're like little paw prints, like little shaker thingies. So I knew that I wanted to use those. So I've got colors of green, a little bit of purple, orange, pink, some brown. Um, yeah, there's some blue in there. So I knew that I wanted to use these as well in my shaker. So that's where I'm starting with. Okay. So I'm going to put those to the side and I'm going to start going through some of the backgrounds, just kind of walking you through. Now this one could actually work because it does have some blues and purples, but I really do think that I want, especially because it's a masculine card, so it's eventually, even though it's kind of got the "you have me know," still going to be a guy card. So I'm really looking at more like the green and the orange, a little bit of the pink, that kind of thing. So and the yellow. So I'm looking at more these like the kind of the warmer tones versus the cooler tones of the rainbow. Okay, so this one could work with that mix, but it's not necessarily what I'm kind of looking for. I'm picking out those particular colors to make it fun and bright. Okay, this one's really deep and intense, so that's not going to work. Not to mention it doesn't really, it doesn't necessarily go. Okay, this one wouldn't be too bad. This purple one here, again, it wouldn't be too bad. Some of that green would really play off of there, but again, to me, that's a little bit more feminine. Now, now I've got some of the stencil ones that I did that have the Art Transfo Duo shoot, gel medium, so that I can do hot or cold foiling. So I don't really want to use any of the foil ones because I would have to cut my image right out of that. So that's not going to. So I'm going to move all of these foil ones to the side. Cool. Wait. He's going to make such nice birthday cards. which is good because I desperately need birthday cards. So these might be the ones I do next. This star one could have worked as well. But again, I've got all the foil on there already. I really don't want to take away from that because I would have to cut out, I mean, it cuts out almost the entirety of the center portion. Okay, so as you can see, I had fun foiling one day. So all of these foiled cards, I sat down and just did stenciling and foiling because I was making a mess. So I was going to make the mess all at once. How gorgeous, isn't that beautiful? Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so these are slimline backgrounds. So a slimline isn't going to work with this die cut. So that's also not going to work. Okay, so these ones are not going to work. Now, let's have a look at this guy. Okay, so this was some pigment powders, I believe, just spritzed onto some watercolor card. Now, that kind of goes with my purple and with my green and the yellows. That's really quite lovely. I like that one. So I'm going to put that one to the side. This one also has the lighter greens, darker greens, has some yellow in it, some pretty nice shine. And if I bring those colors up there, so it even goes really nicely with the brown paws that are in there too. So I'm going to put that one to the side. Okay. Now, we do have some bones or some paw prints here, but it's got bones. So that means then that it's going to be dogs. So that's not going to work. This is more of a night sky. These are some sentiments. So that's not going to work. This is Christmas. That's not going to work. Some of these are some of the backgrounds. These are kind of cool. That could have worked. But it's again, like because I'm cutting out the sentiment, that's not going to work. These ones I'm saving for night skies. So I have a particular plan in mind for them. This one could have worked, even though it's blues, but the blue and the purple could have worked. And that wouldn't have been too bad with that. But again, I'd like that bright citron green. I'm not loving it. This is night sky. So again, I would have to cut out of the center of that. These are embossed, so that's not going to work. And again, some more foiled panels that I did with my hot foiling machine. So I don't want to use those. These are too small. Now, I did, when I was looking at this one, this was a possibility because I thought this would be pretty cool behind. So this is what it looks like. So you had me at meow. No, sorry, this way. So you had me at meow. That would have been a pretty cool acetate, but then I wouldn't be able to see the little shaker bits behind it. So that one, I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, these guys are coffee ones. This one's some clouds, sunshine. So that's going to cut again out of the center. These are water backgrounds. And then these are more like Valentine's Day. This was done with pigment powders, heat embossing, and then pigment powders. They're so pretty. Love it, love it, love it, love it. But yeah, and then this one's a pretty die. That's not a die. That's an embossing folder. Okay. So out of all of those backgrounds, I found two that I think will really work. And I could have made more, but those are the two that I think will really work. So we'll play with those. I'm going to put these back here so they're out of the way. Now, what I think that I want to do is I like this color. I think this one is a little bit more feminine kind of thing. This one I think could actually be a little bit more masculine. So this is the one that I'm going to use, these lighter tones, the lighter colors. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to cut my panel down so that it's 4 by 5.25. I want it to be the same size as this. So you can see here, I've already kind of done some of the die cutting, but this is going to be like around the edge here. And I can change it up to where I think that the front will be really nice. So I'm kind of liking this area here, I think, rather than the darker green. I could bring in the darker. Yeah, let's do that. So trimmer. I'm just going to pull out my Tim Holtz trimmer. And I'm going to keep this little guy here because I want to be able to see. This is kind of what's going to be visible on the front. I think this is going to be my card front. Yeah. So I don't mind that. Because even when I come over here, like I still am getting some of the blues in here. So if I were to cut it here, let's see here. Is that, no, it's too short that way. Starts to cut that off. Like that. I'm gonna embrace the splotch, then let's embrace the splotch, right? Right. So let's come down here. Okay. So because I've got this in here, I can oops, I'm gonna pull that off there. So I'm just gonna trim it down here, not necessarily needing it to be straight, but now that I've got the basic cut, I can kind of come in here, trim it down a bit more. I want to keep a lot more of the blues. Okay, so this is where, so I'm going to go 5 this way. This edge to be straight. Then I'm going to take this edge off here. That was where my tape was when I was creating the panel to begin with. And I'm going to go to 4 here. Okay. So this is going to be the panel that when I cut out my, when I cut the die out of this, this is going to be the top part. So these, you can keep your strips if you want. I'm just going to turf them. If you watched my organization video yesterday, you'll know why, because I have too many. Okay. So now this would be really cool in the background as well. You could do that in the background. Well, let's see, because I have a plan for the top part. So because I don't want this to be too plain, like I think that this would be a really pretty color. So what we can do. Oh. Anybody else having a problem with fruit flies this year? I got this really cool light thing upstairs from Amazon. It's like a blue light and it's got a sticky pad on it. Oh yeah, see, look at how pretty that's going to be when I cut that out of the center there. Okay, so what I want to do now is, you're going to have to measure that up, aren't I? Super duper. Should have cut this first. That would have been the sensible thing to do before I trimmed it down so much. It would have given me a better shot at being able to get it. Yeah, let's, okay. So just because I've just gone and made this more difficult on myself, I'm going to do this. So I highly recommend, making sure that you cut out your front panel before you trim it down too far. Okay. This was kind of foolish because now I have to have it exactly perfect. Yeah. Like that. Otherwise, it's not going to match up. So I'm just going to tape this down with a little bit of mint tape. Oops. I don't know about you guys, but I always reuse my mint tape. It sits here on the side, the edge, just so that I can pull it off and reuse it because there's no point in wasting it. Because of course I'm doing this now while I'm videoing. So this is just to prove to you that this doesn't always work the way that we want it to, if that makes sense. A lot of YouTubers that I watch that leave their boo-boos in. What's really funny, this is not the first time that I've had problems with shaker cards. I was doing a class at a retreat once, and I had the poor woman who had the least amount of card making experience. I was walking her through it, and of course, I had done them before. It, just sometimes when you're instructing like a lot of people, you just get messed up on the steps. And so this poor girl, this poor lady, I mean, she was so kind, so kind. Okay, there, that'll match up so that I can get it cut. And I shifted it again. This video is going to be longer just because of this. Just because before I shift this again, I'm going to cut that out right now. So, and I'm going to use my Gemini Junior, which is an electric die cutting machine. And just let this run through. That might have been too thick to run through there. Okay. All right, that with that. Now, normally mint tape doesn't tear, which is the nice thing, which is why it's really great to use on the projects. But when you run something through your die cutting machine and it's tighter than it should be, sometimes it doesn't always work great. On the upside, though, it's showing me that I did a really good job sticking down my acetate, which is great. It's very good. So pull this out. It's going to be interesting. Okay, so that's that, and I'll put this off as well. And of course, I stuck down my acetate already. I did some of the pre-die cutting and everything, so you guys wouldn't have to sit here through all of this part. Good job, great, good job. Oh well. Anyway, stuff happens, right? Okay. So, right, and we're gonna have to, after all of that, a little bit too much pressure, not enough weight pressure there. So let's get the pecker my trimming scissors. Oh, so I just missed just a skosh of the die cut there. So there we go. Do that. Now, let's check and make sure. Yeah, that all lines up pretty good. And then I can trim it if I need to. So what I'm going to do now so that this can stick down and adhere to the acetate is I am going to, oh, fuzzies all over me. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down, but you can see here, this is going to be the outline. Like how cool. That's really cool. All right. So I'm going to stick that down and adhere it to my acetate. And I am using some liquid glue. I might need to come in with some tape as well, but I want to be able to get all of these little finicky parts, which I can't get in there. Like all of these, like this little pointy part here, can't get in there with tape, right? So I need to make sure that I'm sticking this down very well. So how many of you make boo-boos when you're crafting? Times when you put together your card only to realize you're going to have to make it a left-handed card because you didn't check to make sure that when you put your card front on that it was lined up correctly or the opening is now on the wrong side. Goodness, how many times have I done that? That always makes me feel quite silly, which is kind of funny. I mean, it's a very natural thing, but still, it's like a really, I can't believe you just did that. Okay, so now I'm just lining this up. And you can see here where I missed a little bit. Okay, so it's not perfectly lined up, but that's okay because I can trim that off with my trimmer. So now what I want to do is I'm going to bring this over here and I'm going to put some stamping blocks on it, make sure that it kind of adheres. And I'm going to hold that, put that to the side there. There's some tools over there. And what I thought would be fun to kind of make it more pet-ish. And we're actually going to get a twofer out of this, which I think is kind of fun. So I think I'm going to bring in a stencil. So I've got this cute stencil here, which is just some paw prints. So it doesn't look like it's a dog or a cat then. It's just paw prints, which will match the little ticky things that we're going to put on the inside, right? Like the little shaker bits. Okay. And so the colors that I have pulled out are some Distress Oxide. So I've got Twisted Citron, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, and Squeezed Lemonade. So I always like to start with the lightest one first. So I'm going to start with the squeezed lemonade and just put in a little bit of color. I don't want to really super load up my brush. Okay, just a little bit because it's not going to be a ton either. I'm going to buff that off a little bit. It's right there. Come in with a few colors. Just kind of bring in the color. That. Okay. And now I'm going to come in with the spiced marmalade, so my orangey color. I'm just going to buff it into my lid because then I can always pull that and utilize the lids, the colors on the lid. Okay, so do we want to do, let's do the orange over here. That and come up a little bit into here. That. And let's do the picked raspberry, and I'm going to have that down in this corner here by the orange. And buff into the lid. Okay, and with this technique, you also want to be making sure that you're paying attention of where are you putting your blends, right? So this orange and this pink can kind of go okay together, but I wouldn't want to necessarily do pink and green, right? That's not going to give me, in terms of the color wheel, that's going to give me kind of brownish shade, which is not necessarily what I'm looking for. However, it wouldn't be the end of the world because there are some brown pot prints in my shaker bit mix, right? So. And so I'm going to shift these over here. So I want to add color now to the remainder. Okay, so let's pull that up. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm going to do a second one because we're going to get a twofer here, and that didn't take very long. So I'm just going to lay my stencil back down. It doesn't have to be anything particularly spectacular of where it's going. I'm going to re-ink the green because the green is the one that I've got out at the moment. Throw down a little bit of color. And down into the yellow a bit. That. Okay. I'm done with the green. Move my magnet back over there, and then that green. Move it into the. Oh, a few really deep inks there. Okay. There's a little bit more on my brush than I thought there was, but that's okay. All right. Oops. Go together. Those are very, very clicky, very strong magnets. A little bit of orange. So basically, when you see me putting that into the lid of my ink pad, that's basically just, instead of tapping off on the side here, I like to put it in an ink pad because if I decide I want a watercolor, I can put a spritz of water in there and I've already got my watercolor, right? Like I've got a palette. So I don't have to, that ink doesn't go to waste because I don't know if you can see it. So there is some ink in there, not a ton, but basically anything that I put on my color palette, on my work surface, is basically just going to get wiped up when I'm done. So I try to remember to tap off or smush into the lid because then I can reuse that ink. I'm not, well, I mean, there's so much ink in these things, you're not really wasting anything, but it's a good practice to get into. Oh, and I really did, may have gone a little too far with the orange. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow then. Okay, let's see if I can get that new. And the yellowy, some yellow there. There we go. Okay, so not as much yellow as I would have liked, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna put those there and I'm gonna move my brushes off to this, yeah, up to the top here. And I'm gonna pull these off and wipe down my surface and clean off my stencil as well. That's cute. All right, so first of all, cleaning off the stencil, just using a baby wipe. But I mean, like, look at, I didn't even hardly add any ink to my brushes. I probably actually just could have blended without having to add any ink to my surface or anything for the brushes. That probably would have been enough on there. Okay, and then I'm gonna give it a dry. There we go. Okay, stencil going away. All right, so now we've got two card panels. How cute are they, right? So we've got a little bit of the pink, we've got some orange, some green, some yellow, which are all of the colors that I chose out of my shaker bit mix here. Now, so we've had this guy drying here for a little bit. So if we were to look at that, this, this is what we're going to have. So this is going to be the top. So instead, here's why I ended up doing it this way. So instead of trying to layer multiple layers of tape, of foam tape around this, what I decided to do is I just cut the sentiment 3 times. And then, so I've got 3 layers of green cardstock behind here, plus the one, my watercolor that I used. So that will be enough to give me a slight, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like enough of a lift that I'll be able to have my shaker cards, like my shaker bits moving around, which is what I'm looking for, right? So I'm just cleaning up a little bit of seepage here that I had. And it's kind of popped out a little bit, but that's okay. So, and even though I've got some imperfections here, that's not going to be the end of the world, because here's what this is going to look like. So I'm going to trim, obviously I'm going to trim all of this down, but this is going to go on top of here. Sorry, distracting. I've got glue bits on there, staticky. Okay, so this is going to go on top of here like this. And then I have a choice. I can fit this into there. So you had me at meow. So I could do that. Okay, that actually might be what I want to do. I like how that kind of changes out there. So that's kind of fun. Or I can also fit in the U, right? So like this, you had me at meow, okay? Like that. But in all honesty, I think I like what this looks like better. Wasn't sure that I was going to like this, but this, I think I like this better because it fits in there and I'll be able to see my shaker bits behind it a little bit better, I think. What do you guys think? Okay, and then I've got the centers to put in here as well. So I'll have the O, and like, gonna look like, oh, for God's sakes. Poopy. Here we go. Okay, so you right here like this. Great. So you had me. Oh yeah, that's gonna look really cute. Okay. So first thing that I'm going to do, again, to give it a little bit of time to adhere is, nope, I'm going to trim this one. I'm going to trim my card front down first. All right. So I need to get this edge here. And thank goodness for guillotine trimmers. Oh, oh goodness, very tight. I have to do that with a knife then. Yep. Shoot. I don't want to break my new glass mat either. There we go. Okay, that. And then let's see if we can just get this edge. It's a little more difficult just because the acetate is already in there too, right? So a little thicker. There we go. And the good news is my friend will be just tickled with the whole cat thing to begin with. So he'll be like, I can't believe you made this. All right. Much better. Like it never happened. Oh, actually, I need that. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to stick down. I'm going to stick down the well, I guess technically this is the sentiment, but I'm going to inlay this. Gooby on that. So again, this is going to be too fine in order for me to be able to add um, tape to it. So I'm going to have to use adhesive, liquid adhesive to get a nice, good fit. And so I'm just outlining it here. The adhesive that I'm using is Bearly Art glue. I've changed it into the Nouveau drop that the jar that the bottle that comes with the glue press, which is what this tool is, and it's fabulous if you use a lot of liquid adhesive. It's so awesome. I really am happy with it. It's one of the really cool tools that came out this past year. I find it really easy and yeah. But I do prefer to use the either Art Glitter Glue or Bearly Arts adhesive. And so that I had to finish the adhesive that came with it and then was able to move on to this one, which was good. So, and now, so I'm just gonna inlay this into the area here and press that down into place. So there's more than enough adhesive on here for it to stick down. So I'm just going to put that to the side and I'm going to stick a couple of stamping blocks on it. Okay. So while I'm doing that, or while that's adhering, I'm going to trim this down because this also has to fit onto a card, right? Like it has to fit behind that. So this kind of comes up at the top here. I want to take that down. Just kind of going to do the edges. I'm just going to try and do like 1/8 of an inch all the way around just to get it to, I want it to be 5. Nope, I want it to be 4 by 5 1/4, I think. So, but we're going to just double check and fold that up just to make sure, because clearly I'm not getting it right, right? Okay, what do you think there? Is that going to fit? Oh, yeah. Cute. That's so cute. Okay. Now, in order to put my shakers on, what I want to do is I'm going to turn this upside down and I want to put my shakers in this area here. Okay. So let's see. I might still have to do tape. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. If I can put a few of these in here flat and see how they go. Full color on both sides. Oh, good. That would really, really suck if they didn't have color on both sides. Because can you imagine having to go through and move each and every one of these? So now what I want to do is now that I've got those in there, I'm going to try and do this and see if they will move. So yeah, looks like they'll move. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to start tapping some of these in here. And the funny thing with shakers is I always think you need to put more in than you think you need, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But if you want to make it shake, then it needs to shake. What I do want to make sure here though is that I've only got a single layer because I've only got 3 layers of cardstock in between, right? So I need to make sure that these little all these little paws are all laying in a single layer. They're not overlapping. So it's going to be a little bit more fiddly than I would normally like, but that's okay. My friend's worth it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really curly, so I'm gonna put that in there. Oh, another paw print. It would be easier if I was using a jewel picker or something. Although you can use your tools, little girl. Okay, not that one. That one's pretty curled over. Over there. Okay, over. Over. And also fold it over. Okay, so I like those, but then I also wanted to add in a little bit of bling. So these are some flat kind of a sequins that I had got. I think I got this from home. This actually came from the Dollar Tree. They're super thin. There's like next to nothing to them at all, which is good because there's very little room in here. But you can't have, well, I mean, you can. Some people don't like to have bling on their cards. I don't understand that, but that's okay. I don't have to. To each their own. Oops. And then I have this. Okay, I have this mix blend from when I've been using them that has like golds and greens and blues and purples, which are all of some of the colors that are available in the mix here, right? Okay. Alrighty. So see, everything looks good there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my adhesive. And I really want to be gentle because I don't want to be moving now that I've got these goofy things all in place. I don't want to move them too much, but I do need to get quite close to the edge here so that my so that all my shaker bits are sealed into the card base here, right? So that they're not nothing worse than giving a recipient a card, a shaker card, and then they go to shake it the first time and all of the bits fall at the bottom. That's not fun. So I'm really going along where the words are here, making sure that that's all in there. So and I'm also, before I demo it, I'm going to leave this to dry for quite some time before I go and complete the card. I'll show you the second part of the twofer here before. So now I'm going to line this backer up. I'm going to squeegee a little bit. That's okay. And now I'm going to add some pressure. So we're not going to look at it yet. Keep that under wraps. We're going to add some pressure there so that, and some weight so that everything starts to just kind of sink down into it. Okay. So that's card number one. Now we've got this really cute background here that I think could be quite fun. I'm going to trim it down a little bit, seeing as how we're going to have this twofer, right? I'm just going to trim this side over here. There. So basically I'm trimming this down so that it's 4 by 5 1/4 because I'm going to put it on my card base and I want to have a nice little white border on it. Okay. So now remember this part that came out of the center of this one here? Look at what we're going to do with that. You have me at meow. But first, what I want to do is I'm going to pull all of these little guys over here and I'm going to adhere them to my sentiment thing here. The sentiment base, I guess, is what I would call it. So oops, stuck my finger in the glue. So in these, we're just gonna guesstimate. We don't have to have it perfect. You next, so I can put on the magnet on it. Just want to have them roughly in about the same place. It would be easier if I was using my tweezers. I don't know why I'm not. Just being fussy. Sorry, guys. Then go here. Like so. And then I'm going to put the magnets on here to hold it on. Oh, fudge. Okay. And I have to get one of those nice long ones that Jennifer McGuire has. Oh, that's handy. Okay, you. Next ones are HAD, HAD, Hug, and Hank. Lower, yes, it's going to go that way. You guys glad I did most of the die cutting beforehand? Me too. How was everybody's summer? This is the first actual video I've made after summer since, well, I did do a organizing update one yesterday, but it's an actual technique one since for summer. And that's gonna go there. Yeah. All that spacing. Let's go. And it's already, oops, sticking down there. Okay. And we have me. All right, so in these, basically, the cardstock that I cut that I used as the base for my shaker, like the wells for my shaker, this is just the cardstock that I cut out of that. So I've got 2 layers of a light green with a dark green in between. Waste not, want not, right? Okay, let's do add me at. And now we're going to go to meow. Okay, so the end. Jennifer McGuire, this is a new glass mat that I got for my birthday in July that I've kind of just been playing with and practicing with, and it's magnetic based, which is why you can get these magnets and it will hold things to it, which is really great for stenciling, things like that. I think I actually want one that's slightly bigger, but I've been watching, and Jennifer McGuire has this awesome magnet. It's like a bar magnet. So you know how you get a bigger one for the Misty. So it's about almost this size, I think, maybe a little bit bigger. So it's about 2 inches. But it just like would hold those sentiments. Just awesome to like kind of keep everything together. Okay, so let's do something like that. That. Then we're going to put in the heart, which is kind of an upside down. Hey, speaking of upside down, did you guys know that the heart shape that we draw today, like this kind of shape here, was actually created by the card companies, like the heart that we use for Valentine's Day when we draw them and stuff like that, that it was actually created by the card companies, and it's actually shaped, it's based on an upside down woman's butt. Can you believe that? I mean, I'm sure you can, but I forget where I read that. I read it someplace and I was like, what? Seriously? Okay. But anyway, and I thought that was pretty funny, just looking at this upside down heart, which really turns out is a woman's butt. That just kind of brought that out. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this concept of kind of taking you along on my card making journey, where I'm starting from, where I'm getting the ideas from, how it looks for you know, how to create. Some of them will be obviously not nearly as long as this, although on the upside, we are getting 2 cards out of, you know, one technique really. But some of them won't be nearly as long. It's like, you know, okay, I've got some backgrounds and I need to create some quick birthday or congratulation cards and stuff like that. So what does that look like? And those kind of things. So some of those will be not nearly as long, obviously. Well, one would hope. I don't know. I try to do shorter videos. I thought this one would be shorter. Obviously not. Anyway, that's, I guess, just what happens. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put this on here, which this is going to be so cute. So, sorry, I'm just tickled with myself there. Yeah, I'm going to stick this down just using liquid adhesive. It's already got a lot of dimension because with the layer of cardstock that is the base, and then 3 layers of cardstock for each of the letters, there's more than enough dimension on here for right now. So you had me at no. No. Okay, so let's stick that. Oh, get it straight, green. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down. I find a card piece. Well, kind of like this, but I'm not sure that I don't want to use that for the other one. I have a darker green. Here. Oh, that's so cute. I don't like it with the dark green. The dark green is too dark. Okay. Might not be able to do a colored one. I'm going to just have to do. Oh, wait, 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 wait. Oh, I found one. Yay. Cool. All right. So for this one, I think I'm going to do the tent fold. So this is going to be basically a standard 8.5. Sorry, not an 8.5. This is an A2 size, so that means it's a 4 1/4 by 5.5. But before I go and stick that down, what I want to do is some black chalk. No, of course not. Why would you have black chalk here? Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. What I want to do is I want to pop this off the edge. So I'm just going to take this along. I don't know if you can see this. So I've got this very well worn in ink pad, which has a chalk-based ink on it. So, and if you know, chalk-based inks adhere or absorb really quickly. So they dry really quickly. I'm just going to run across the edge. I want you to see the difference. So it does help it pop off of that base just a little bit. It's not a ton of color. I'm not looking to add color. I'm just looking to define the edge of the card just a little bit of the card front, not the edge of the card. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Better. All right. Yes, much better. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this. Okay. Yep, let's check. Yep, good. Okay. And we're going to try and get it mostly straight, have a fairly even border all the way around. There we go. Okay, now I want to do a final step on here. Yeah, so I'm just going to quickly glue these little pieces in. So I've got this little guy here that's going to go in the O, make it look like a U or a Y, or no, sorry. Going to make it look like a Y, or an O. Oh my goodness, I just tried to correct myself and I still got it wrong. It's been a while. It's been a while, guys. You can tell I'm horribly out of practice here. I'm talking and doing at the same time. Let's see. You need to stay on there, young sir. Yeah. He said these little touches here are mostly just to kind of finish it so it actually looks like a full word, right? So in each of these, you want to talk about fiddly. Each one of these has 3 layers in it as well. So that was, I didn't know that seemed just a bit extra. It didn't seem, it was a bit extra, not gonna lie. Okay. There. Oh, just slid underneath. Okay. Now I'm going to stick these on there again. I'll make sure that those are adhering. Maybe the thing to do is do magnets on. Go like that. Stick it down. Yeah. Okay. So while I'm waiting, what I want to do with this is, where is my? We need some shimmer. Guys, we need some shimmer. Okay, so I've got my Wink of Stella. Give it a shake here. And because I'm never sure how much is in there, I'm going to give it a little bit of a squeeze. She might be a little empty. I'm going to need to be getting a new one here. Yep. Fortunately enough, pretty sure I have one on the go right here. I do. Don't put that back in. Why would you want to put that back in there? Do you guys ever do that? You know, when you know that you'll run out, like your supply has run out. Okay, so this is the Aqua Shimmer Pen. So sorry, I'm just gonna, oh, sorry, no, it's not. It's actually the Close to My Heart Shimmer Pen. So when you see something like this, so the Aqua Shimmer one by Tonic is the same. The Wink of Stella is the same. So there's this gap in here. So when you close this, it doesn't go all the way down. So when you're opening a new one, you need to pull this off, and then you're going to remove this piece and pull out the spacer. You need to pull out the spacer because there's a tube that's in here that's going to pierce into the tiny little hole in here. So when I do this back up, okay, now it's just pierced. So this is going to go all the way down. Okay, and I'm going to give it a shake. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. There's kind of a mica inside of here. So you want to make sure that you're getting that moving, and then you give it a squeeze until you start to see it either in the barrel or it actually comes out. So especially when I'm not sure how this runs, I want to make sure that I'm doing this over, not over my project, because that would have sucked. And the way that this project has gone today, that would have been my luck. I would have gotten this huge blobby right in the middle, and I would have had to fix and repair another thing. So it's not so much that you can't fix and repair something, because you can, because clearly, you know, fixing and repairing, that's part of card making. If it doesn't work out the first time, that's okay. There's other ways of making it work. You know, you don't give up. There's multiple ways of fixing something. Sometimes it's as simple as putting a flower on it, putting some bling over it. You know, your ink pad fell. You dropped it in a inconvenient area on your card. No problem. First of all, try using a mono sand eraser, seeing if you can buff it out, or lighten the color of it. If you can't, try adding some splatter, you know, so that you're adding that color all over the place, because you just never know, right? Like that could work. So this Y here got quite a bit of the first shot of my shimmer pen here. So I'm just going to keep kind of picking up off of there and drawing it onto the other letters here, which is lovely. And yeah, so like add some splatter of the same color so that it looks like it was actually intentional. That's all you do. So you take the mistake and you make it look like, yep, I meant to do that. You know, it's like a dog when they, you know, you're playing with them and you throw the ball and they skid into the wall. I had this dog. She was so hilarious, so classy until she was chasing a ball and she would slam, like go full tilt, pell metal down the hallway kind of thing, and then hit the brakes way too late and would slam her head basically right into the cupboard, right? Like it never well, it did give her a concussion. I've never really looked at it, but she did it over and over and over again, right? So I don't know, how bad was it? I guess is the question. Um, but it's like that, you know, she'd always come back running like, yeah, I meant to do that, even though we'd be laughing and killing ourselves, and she'd be really just proud of herself and whatever. But you know, like she's like, yeah, no, I meant to do that. No worries, no worries. Which is I don't know, it's just funny. So that's what you do with if you make a mistake. So until you give the card, nobody knows that you made a mistake. And in fact, the majority of people won't be able to see it. You will get some people that can see it if they're crafters themselves. They'll be like, oh yeah, this is where you were trying to hide it. Or, you know, you can put a gem over it, put a flower over it, put a butterfly over it, put a dog over it or something like that. Like, look at, like I have this cute little kitty cat, right? If I had a mark right there, put that right there. Look at how cute that is, right? Okay, so now I've added a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of shine. Okay. And I'm not going to do it now because it's going to be too wet. But my final thing that I want to do is I'm going to take some glossy accents and I'm going to cover the paw. So it's going to be shiny, but also raised with a stickery kind of feel to it. So now I'm going to pull these out here. It goes away from each other. Okay. So before this dries, I'm going to do this. Because I think, even though it's a men's card, you can still have a little bit of shimmer on a men's card, I think, don't you? Probably won't do the glossy accents though, but I don't think that we can have a little bit of shimmer. Really kind of working now because this is inlaid. I'm kind of focused on just trying to hit just the edges of this green color just to help it stand out from the background a little bit. Actually, that's a good thing. In the comments below, what have you done to cover up a mistake or to try and fix a mistake or something that you perceive as a mistake? I didn't mean to do that. Oh my God, I'm going to throw my card away. How did you say that? What are some of the things that you like to do? Let's share that with the community here because let's be honest, that's a tip we could all use, right? I'll learn how to fix something. One of my other favorite things to do is kind of make it look grunge. Like if I didn't get a great stamping, although stamping platforms and using the right ink really helps with getting a better stamping, right? But if I'm foiling, for example, using my hot foil machine and it doesn't come out perfect, like it's kind of splotchy or something like that, I'll roll with that rather than throwing it away and like wasting my materials that way. Which is funny when you think about how much, if you watch my organization video from this month, throwing away materials and things like that, and all the scraps that I got rid of. But if you, like with my foiling and things like that, and it doesn't come out perfect, I don't stress about it because what I'll do with it instead is, I'm going to put this kitty on this one. So I'm going to cut another cat to put on the other one because that'll be really cute. So I think this, you had me at meow. So this little guy, but first I can add that on in a second. First, what I need to do is now, because this has some warpage, I think what I would like to do is, let me see, it's already got quite a bit of dimension, but I think that putting if I could get that to flatten. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to use just liquid adhesive and then I'm going to put it under my mat for the night to kind of help it flatten out a bit. But, oh, let's check and make sure this is opening the right way. And it is. So this is going to be a side fold standard A2. Let's go to the bottom here. Okay. So, and then what I will do is, do I like the kitty on this side? I do like the kitty on this side because the paw's on that side. So do this, put the little kitty on. Like his ear can fit right in there. Come on, get in there. There we go. Just like that. You hug me at meow. And also, it's all black. I just added it up. Now this guy, I might come in and do glossy accents on. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Might just be fine enough. Once it's dry, we'll have a look and see what it looks like then. Okay, so let's put that one away. Give this a wipe before I stick my card in it. So then on the inside, I'll just stamp a happy birthday to you or something like that. But these are the two cards. So we haven't got a ton of movement in here, but that's okay because it's in there. So you've got the really cool colors. Is it the best shaker card I've made? No. Is it going to do the job? Yes. Is my friend going to be happy with it? Yes. And did I get 2 cards out of 1? Yes. Yay. Okay. So these are the 2 cards from today. I hope you guys had a fun time. Yeah, sorry about the boo-boo that took so long to correct at the beginning there. That was not planned, obviously, but sometimes you gotta go with what you got. And yeah, that was what I had. So here's gonna be our cards. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. If you are going to comment, please remember to keep it kind. Otherwise, yeah, I'll have to block you. But I am open to constructive feedback and questions. Again, let me know if you think that this might be a series that you kind of might like to follow along with. Obviously, I mean, you might have to fast forward and whatever, but not all the videos will be as long as today. But yeah, I think that it could be kind of fun, just showing you what does that process look like of from start to finish? How do I decide which ones I'm going to use, what technique I want to use, those kind of things. Okay. So thanks so much for joining me, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. Bye.